All right, welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, October 26th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the news stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryTV.com. No, that's IndianCountryNews.com. Go check that out. Go check out the other website at IndianCountryTV.com as well if you're interested in more programs there. Here are the latest stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Navajo Tribal Council failed to pass a resolution demanding the immediate removal from office of President Joe Shirley and Vice President Ben Shelley last week. The effort failed in a 45-18 vote last week in Winter Rock, Arizona. Spokesman for Shirley says neither Shirley nor Shelley plans to resign. Legislation to put both top tribal executives on investigative leave went before the delegates on the second day of the council's fall session last week. In a 5-hour executive session last Monday, members of the council discussed investigations and alleged legal violations arising from tribal contracts with 2 companies. Council spokesman Joshua Butler says the reports reveal serious impropriety and serious violations within the executive branch. The president disputes any wrongdoing and says the council has not given him an opportunity to respond. The nation is the Navajo Nation as well is considering the purchase of the Arizona Ski Bowl ski resort to stop snowmaking on one of the tribe's most sacred mountains. That's snow made by treated wastewater stuff, leftover wastewater treatment water. The Navajo Nation Council voted last Wednesday to consider legislation that would allow the tribe to negotiate with the partners who own the resort outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. The Navajo and several other tribes fought in court for several years to stop the Snow Bowl's plan to use reclaimed wastewater to make snow. That's what I was looking for, reclaimed wastewater. The U.S. Supreme Court turned down the tribe's final appeal in June, and the resort's owners plan to begin adding the snowmaking equipment next year. The tribe considers the San Francisco Peaks, where the Snow Bowl is located, as a sacred site. The Tribal Council voted there 41-27 to refer the legislation to the Resources Committee for further review. Max said he and other co-sponsors plan to rework the measure and bring it before the council again as soon as today, October 26th. Some people in Flat Rock, Michigan aren't happy with a new 6-foot-tall bronze statue of a bear that cost $50,000 to erect in a public park. The statue was dedicated last month and is meant as a tribute to Native Americans. But some taxpayers say the money from a Wayne County millage intended to benefit parks and recreation could have been used better, for better things or better spent. Just days after the dedication, the Monroe Evening News reported vandals spray-painted the statue white. Flat Rock resident Terry Farrar said recently, such mindless destruction is what happens when people disagree with the statue's purpose. Wayne County Commissioner Edward Boyke Jr. of Taylor says the statue is a fitting tribute to the county's large American Indian population there. 7 tribes in North Carolina and Virginia will gain federal recognition and become eligible for federal aid under legislation approved last week by a Senate committee. The Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina and 6 Virginia tribes will be eligible for up to $800 million in federal funds under 2 bills passed by the Senate Indian Affairs Committee. The bills, which bar the tribes from building casinos, have already passed the House. Lawmakers say Congress does not have the expertise to determine federal recognition of tribes, but noted that they have faced lengthy delays in accessing federal funding for housing, education, and health benefits. In some cases, it has taken 20 or 30 years for their federal recognition to be processed through the Interior Department, and that needs to be fixed, said Senator Byron Dorgan of North Dakota, the committee's chairman. The administrative process is broken, he said. New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department Secretary Cindy Padilla has taken a position with the Federal Administration on Aging. Governor Bill Richardson has named Deputy Secretary Michael Spanier as Acting Secretary of the Aging. Richardson says Padilla has been a tremendous asset as New Mexico's top advocate for aging and vulnerable citizens. Padilla will begin a new job November 16th in Washington, D.C. She says she will focus on home and community-based services, protection against adult abuse, neglect, exploitation, and building relationships with Native American communities. Don Coyes has been awarded a 2009 Purpose Prize, which honors social entrepreneurs over 60 who are using their experience and passion to take on society's biggest challenges. Now in its fourth year, the six-year, $17 million program is the nation's only large-scale investment in social innovators in the second half of your life. Don Coyes is a member of the Navajo Nation of Wisconsin and the founder of the Colorado Springs-based White Bison, Inc., and he will receive $100,000 for his work in Native American sobriety, recovery, and healing, which began in 1988 with the founding of White Bison, Inc. By the mid to late 1990s, Coyes was also inspirational and the founder of the Wellbriety movement, dedicated to the healing and prosperity of Native American individuals, families, communities, and tribal nations. Don Coyes will join 9 other 2009 winners and 46 Purpose Prize Fellows at a summit on innovation on October 31st and November 1st at Stanford University's Graduate School of Business's Center on Social Innovation, one of the world's leading academic centers focused on social entrepreneurship. You can get more information on Coyes' organization at whitebison.org. The Washington State Transportation Commission has agreed to name a new 64-car ferry that the after a former chief of the Jamestown Escalalam tribe who befriended Olympic Peninsula settlers in the 19th century. That decision was made just last week. The ferry is expected to go into service next summer in the Port Townsend Keystone Run. It's under construction at Todd Pacific Shipyard in Seattle, Washington. It will be the second ferry with that name to serve Port Townsend. The first Chitsamoka sailed between Port Townsend and Edmonds from 1938 to 1947. The chief lived in the Seattle, Washington area from 1808 to 1888. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank